You hear the name Kennedy, and what comes to mind? For a lot of us, it's something like American royalty, a dynasty built on public service, ambition, and this incredible charisma. But there's another side to that story. It's a history that's tangled up with power, scandal, and so much tragedy. So let's get into it.
And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. When you look at this iconic family, you just have to ask, what is the real price of that kind of power and influence?
So if we really want to get a handle on the Kennedy legacy, we have to start with one of the most defining and controversial events in their history, the Chappaquiddick incident. This one night cast a shadow that would hang over the family for decades. Okay, let's break down what happened. It starts with the party on Chappaquiddick Island. From there, you have the crash. Senator Ted Kennedy drives his car right off a bridge. But here's the thing that turns a horrible accident into a national scandal: the delay. Kennedy waited around 10 hours before he reported it. And that delay led directly to the plea and all the legal fallout that came after.
And here is the stark, tragic result of that night. A young woman, Mary Jo Kopechne, lost her life. She drowned. For his role, Senator Ted Kennedy pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an accident and got a suspended 2-month jail sentence. And that huge gap between the tragic outcome and the legal consequence, well, that's what this whole controversy is really about.
So you've got to ask, right? How does a family become so powerful that it can weather a storm like Chappaquiddick? To get that, we need to rewind a generation and look at where all their money and influence came from, built by the family patriarch Joseph P. Kennedy Sr.
The Kennedy fortune came from some really savvy and totally legitimate business moves. We're talking smart stock market plays, huge real estate holdings, and, man, talk about perfect timing, a liquor importing business right as Prohibition ended. Now, there were also these persistent rumors about bootlegging during Prohibition, but it's really important to say those were never actually proven in court.
Now, to really make sense of the family story, it helps to draw a really clear line between two different kinds of events. You have the tragedies that were inflicted on the family, and then you have the scandals they created themselves. It's a super important distinction.
So on one side, you have these unbelievable tragedies carried out by outsiders, the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert F. Kennedy. Then on the other side, you have the scandals involving family members. Chappaquiddick is the big one, of course, but there were other personal issues too. One is external, something that happened to them. The other is internal, something that happened because of them. And this is a key takeaway from the source material. While there were definitely a lot of personal scandals, they were usually opportunistic or, like in Chappaquiddick, accidental. They weren't part of some big criminal enterprise. There's just no evidence of a pattern of organized, intentional violence being carried out by the family. Okay, so let's put the pieces together now. We've talked about the family's immense power, and we've talked about their controversies. So how did their influence actually play out when it came to the consequences they faced? This quote, wow, it just cuts right to the chase. It frames Chappaquiddick as manslaughter-level negligence, and then argues that influence was used to minimize consequences. I mean, that gets right to the very heart of the entire debate over their legacy. And if you look at the track record, you start to see a pattern. For Chappaquiddick in 1969, the outcome was a suspended sentence. For those really serious accusations of mob ties in the 1960 election, it's a similar story. Never proven in court, even though you see it pop up in historical accounts all the time. The pattern seems to be serious allegations met with very few, if any, official convictions. So where does that leave us? When you mix it all together, the public service, the unbelievable tragedies, the scandals, what you're left with is this incredibly complicated legacy. How do you even begin to weigh all that historical baggage? Well, the analysis we're looking at offers this idea, this term, more serious baggage. The argument here isn't just about scandal in general, it's about a very specific and pretty unique combination of two things. First, the enormous scale of their political power, and second, having that power linked to a very high-profile, avoidable death. So here it is, the main takeaway from all this. It's the collision of these two massive forces, this almost unparalleled political power on one hand, and a clear-cut case of fatal negligence on the other, that really makes the Kennedy legacy so uniquely complex and so endlessly debated. And all of that leaves us with one last big question. The Kennedy story, it's woven right into the fabric of American history. But it makes you wonder, when a family's name literally is history, who really gets to write the final chapter?